Feral Scream is part of a whole streak of upgrading we've been seeing. Megatron in Master Blaster, Black Arachnian crossing the Rubicon, and now Cheetor and a new upgraded Dinobot clone. This two-part episode focuses primarily on Cheetor despite the enormity of bringing back one of their teammates as an evil cyborg on the side of the enemy. One would think that would be a far more important thing to show, especially in light of how Code of Hero gave Dinobot such a standout exit, only for Megatron to then violate his memory by creating this abomination. However, we can see why they went this way and why it was a good thing. Cheetor's upgrade is part of an effort to help the character mature a little bit more. We can see why that's needed, the way the first part shows from the beginning that Cheetor is reckless, doesn't want to listen to what Optimus says about their values, and rushes off feeling the need to prove himself, regardless of the danger. This isn't out of character behavior for him, but it's bringing into focus, before we then bring about this change, why there needs to be a change. Rat Trap calling it out as puberty near the end is a signal to the audience that Cheetor is going to start moving beyond the childish impulsiveness to become more like the responsible member of the team that they need. Thus, the two-parter needs to be focused upon him, since it's largely about his evolution. Yet the way that Cheetor overcomes his feral side via a connection to Optimus, who has mentored him, shows that the desire for approval hasn't faded with this change, even if he wants to pretend that it has. The paradox of that age of simultaneously needing and resenting that figure in one's life. Now, Dinobot 2. As I said, he was overshadowed by Cheetor here, but what actually makes it fine is that Feral Scream is Cheetor's story. It's about him and his change. But Dinobot 2 is in an arc, and this is part of that, so he doesn't need to be the focus of this episode. In the previous episode, Cutting Edge, Megatron has his cybernetic velociraptors to demonstrate that he's testing and refining before finally being able to move on to remake Dinobot as a perfectly loyal killing machine. That succeeds in part 1 of Feral Scream. Dinobot 2 has been created using all the various pieces that has been set up. Over the two-part story, he's allowed to demonstrate what a deadly opponent he is, or in Waspinator's case, what a deadly ally he is. The only time Dinobot 2 is really outmatched in that story is by Cheetor, whose role as the primary character of the two-parter means he's going to be given more of a chance to shine. This saves Dinobot 2 then for Proving Ground, which followed, which showed us what he was capable of. Dinobot 2 has a number of weapons he can employ, and is capable of both strategic and tactical planning to make him dangerous. He knows how to draw Black Arachnia into a region where she can't call for reinforcements, and he can make use of elements around him as weapons to defeat his enemies in combat. In this two-part story, while Cheetor overshadows him, Dinobot 2 does have his moments here and there to let the viewer see how deadly he is, especially his response to Waspinator's insistence that they need a plan. His only response is, "I am the plan." His Terminator-like eye helps to show he's built to be the same kind of relentless hunter. He's strong and calculating. He doesn't need to plan with Waspinator because the bug bot is superfluous. The only plan needed is to let him calculate the paths that will lead to victory. Note especially what he does when Cheetor so easily evades his attack. Rather than pointlessly trying to continue, he instead blasts Optimus, knowing it's a move that Cheetor won't expect and also is likely to make him emotional and make a mistake. The episode makes the interesting choice to lean into classic horror for its approach. The creation of Dinobot 2 is a naked homage to the classic Frankenstein, not the least which being all of the Frankensteining together of various things: the Transmetal 2 technology, Dinobot's DNA, the cyborg raptors, the mutant spark, and the blank stasis pod, all to create this bastardization of Transformer science. But that then ends when we instead switch to Cheetor as the Wolfman, with the uncontrolled changes and the bestial nature of his alternate form, as well as being tormented by nightmares. It gives the whole story that universal classic monster feel. I especially liked in this story that Optimus demonstrates there are limits to how much he will indulge depth charge, and will not allow his crusade or attitude to put others in danger. Smacking him around shows that A, depth charge has pushed Optimus too far this time, and B, that Optimus is using force because depth charge has shown words don't work. He needs his head cracked a little to see that Optimus' patience has finally run out. Pharaoh's scream works because it has the room to breathe that is needed to cover all that it needs to cover and say all that it needs to say.